Hey everybody and welcome. Certainly glad you could join me today. In this video we're going to look at the interface of Adobe Photoshop. Before I get started, a big thank you to everyone who subscribed and hit the notification icon. It really helps me out to be able to see how many people want to see my future content. Also a massive thank you to all of my patrons. Your support is overwhelming and it means such a great deal to me. If you are interested in supporting the channel, the link to Patreon is in the description down below. So let's get started. When you first open Adobe Photoshop, you'll see an interface basically like this. You may not have all of these images here, but these are just recently edited images which Photoshop will show you that you can quickly click on in the case that you closed it down overnight or something like that. When you click on the Create New, you'll get an interface like this come up, and all of your previously used sizes will come up as custom templates, so that you can quickly bring those back up. Personally, I always use 1920 by 1080 and 72 pixels per inch, which is standard for using on monitors if I'm going to be editing an image from, say, DaVinci Studio. When you hit Create, you'll come into the Editor interface. And a quick rundown of what we have here. On the top you have the top menu as per with most other programs, and then below it is the contextual menu. The contextual menu is a menu whose contents will change depending on which of the main tools you have selected. The main tools are the tools down in this bar here. These may be on the left hand side of the screen for you, but it's the same menu, I've just moved it around. You too can move your menus around just by clicking and dragging on the top, and then when you see a blue outline or a blue line appear, that's a place where you can dock it, or you can just have them floating as you're comfortable. On the right hand side here I've got my color palette, which is also next to the color swatches. So the color swatch will change when you select new colors. It will just show your most recently and most often used colors, but you can use this if you want to choose a color quickly. Below that we have our layers, channels and paths. Layers is something that we're going to talk about in a later video, but it's a very useful way of editing images. Channels is your RGB, red, green and blue channel, so you can edit those specifically, and paths is something that we'll talk about in a later video also. The properties tab is also contextual. It will change depending on what we have selected in the layers tab. So let's say for example I quickly use the adjustments tab to create a new adjustment layer, and we'll just do brightness and contrast. You'll notice that with the brightness and contrast layer selected, the contents of the properties tab has now changed to allow us to adjust the properties of the adjustment layer. So if we were to go back to our background layer, it's now gone back to the properties for that. The libraries tab is where you will be able to access all of your fonts and things that you've downloaded from the Adobe store. So simple file operations are all achieved by doing your standard Windows shortcuts, as well as just clicking on them in here. You've also got the ability to automate things such as creating HDRs and contact sheets. This interface is designed to be as simple to use as possible, and the ability to drag things around is very useful. But if you want to use a preset, you can click in the top right hand corner, and then you have presets here for photography, for painting, for animation, for graphics and web, for 3D, and of course Essentials, which is the one that generally you'll be using most of the time. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you found this useful. In the next video we're going to talk about layers, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.